You are being forged by this fire you are walking through. You're not being burned, you're being forged. There is an alchemical process taking place right now that is crystallizing your DNA and activating all of the ancient codes and wisdom that previously lie dormant within your DNA. It is all coming online and being activated right now. And so it may feel as though you are walking through a fire that is burning you, that is threatening your life. But this is only true when you are identifying from the perspective of the version of you that is dying. Because that's true. There is a version of you who is dying. I didn't like that car. There is a version of you that is dying, but it is not the truth of you. It is not who you are. It is the egoic construct that you have been identifying with thus far. It is the version of you that has limitations, that has fears, that has self doubt, that doesn't feel worthy of what's coming next, that isn't capable of holding what comes next. And so, through this process of walking through this fire, you are courageously allowing the divine to burn everything around you that does not resonate with where you are headed. And so, yes, you could choose to identify with the version of you that is dying right now, or you could zoom out and look at the higher perspective and identify with the version of you who can never be burned, who can't even be touched by the flame. You can choose to identify with the version of you that is untouchable, the version of you that walks through the fire and survives, because that is the truth of who you are. The truth of you can never be burned by this fire you are walking through. Now, you can hold comfort and you can hold space for the version of you that is dying, because that is the divine, that is the holy thing to do, is to comfort yourself through this process, is to hold space for the version of you that is scared. Okay? But do not identify as this small, limited, egoic version of yourself, or else you will be terrified. You will be in pain. You will feel like you're burning to death. But the truth of you cannot be burned. The truth of you is being activated at this time. The truth of who you are is coming online. And as the truth of you comes online, its presence is so potent and so powerful that it burns away everything that you are not, because you cannot be both at once. You cannot remember the truth of who you are. You cannot remember that you are, in fact, this divine God spark of consciousness in your heart when you are still identifying with the egoic aspects of self that are thinking, me, that are thinking that, oh, I'm not good enough, or whatever it is that your ego believes and thinks, and how your ego reacts and responds. When your God spark comes online, when your DNA gets activated, when the truth of who you are starts waking up, it burns everything in sight that is not truth, because the truth is all there is. The illusions, the distortions cannot exist in the face of truth. They cannot. It's just not possible. Illusion and distortion cannot exist in the face of truth. And so when the truth of you begins coming online, when your DNA starts crystallizing and activating, and all of this ancient wisdom begins to come to the surface, everything that is not in alignment with truth begins to burn and crumble. Okay, so you can identify with the version of you that's burning and crumbling right now, or you can rise up and remember who you are. You can rise up and remember that you are what cannot be burned. You are the gem in the center that can never be destroyed. And it is a choice to identify with this at this time. Soon enough, it won't even be a choice anymore. It'll just be like, well, obviously, how did I ever identify as anything else? But right now, it feels like, do I identify with the version of me that's dying and crumbling, or do I identify with the empowered version of myself? I don't know. We have 2 feet in both worlds right now, and we're watching the old world crumble. So you can either die and crumble with the old world through identifying with it, or you can step fully into the new world. You can step fully into the presence and truth of who you are and who you came here to be and who you came here to remember that you are. It's a choice. So while the world may seem to be burning down around you, if it can burn, it's an illusion. If it can crumble, it's not the truth. If it can crumble, it was built upon lies and selfishness and distortion and greed. If it can burn, it's not real. Anything that is real and true can never be destroyed. And the more you choose to identify with that, with the truth that cannot be destroyed, the higher you'll begin to rise up, right? The more open and receptive you will be to the world around you, because you no longer fear the world around you. You are empowered by who you are. You are empowered by your ability to create worlds. And so then you walk through life like you remember. You walk through life like you know who you are. And I understand this process can be scary and challenging, and not everybody is going through this. It can be lonely. And you absolutely do not need me. You can do this on your own because you are a divine creator being. You don't need anybody. You can walk through this alone, but you don't have to. And I have created a community on Patreon of people who are going through this, where we can talk about our experiences and we can talk about like the deep, nasty, crunchy, gross feelings that we're going through in a safe space of like-minded people who are going through the same thing. And I share with you different exercises and rituals and ways of being to make this process smoother. I offer a group coaching call once a month. There's going to be guided meditations once a week. There's going to be different exercises we can do to move through this with as much grace and ease as possible, to soothe ourselves as we watch the old crumble and die and remember who we are. It's time to rise up. It's time to remember who we are. And while, yes, we can do this alone, we don't need to. And it's so much easier when we have each other, when we can rely and count on each other. So I'll leave that down below. If you're interested in this community, you can go take a look. I love you. It's an honor to be on this planet with you at this time. And I'll talk to you later.